Kia ora YouTube whānau, my name's Rick and this is Rick the Maker. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be stringing this. This is a carving that I made in my last video. I thought I'd make the stringing a separate video so at least you guys could access as easily and if you guys want to do it at all. I'm also going to be using this string here. This is 1mm wax cord. So I'm going to be using this here. I prefer to use this because I like it in the way that I actually plait all of my carvings, all of my cordage. Just, I've noticed it makes for a slightly stronger bond. If you guys want to, you can obviously use like 2mm or 3mm even. But I'm going to be showing you guys some of the techniques that I use to actually like tie off knots and all that kind of stuff. And just to make it secure. I use this here. So this is just a thing that I made. It's pretty easy, it's just 2 blocks of wood. I've got a couple of pieces in here. These are like non-slip mat that you get in the bottom of some kitchen drawers and stuff like that. Just got some little knobs here, so I actually use this here. I put my carving inside of it and it just makes it a bit easier. I'm not having to worry about holding on to my carving while I'm doing it. So my carving just sits in it like that. And now I just tighten these down. Just sit it in there a bit more. I then just clamp this to the workbench or whatever I've got in front of me. Sometimes the dining table. I just clamp that like that onto whatever I'm doing it on. Just makes life a bit easier. I'm not having to worry about this moving around and stuff. This just sits there quite securely. So yeah, I'll show you guys how I do it all and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully you guys will be able to take a bit of like insight from it and all that kind of stuff and know how to do it. So let's get into it. First things first, I'll actually get 3 pieces that are at least 3 times or 1.5 times the length that I need around the neck. So if going around the neck is, say that, I'll actually do that much. Obviously longer, because it's going around a human neck, not a screwdriver. But anyway, so I'll usually find a piece, so most of the time I'll actually do it a bit longer anyway. It just gives me a little bit more to play with. So I'll get some long pieces. I'll zoom this out a bit so it's a bit easier for you guys to see. So there's 2. Now the reason I do it a little bit longer than I actually need is because I'm going to be plaiting it, which means that it's actually going to get a little bit shorter as I'm plaiting it. Just use some flush cutters to cut it. These are very blunt flush cutters, I do need to get some more. But they do the job for now. Cut that, and then I'll end up with 3 pieces that are the same length. Yeah, so we've got 3 pieces of the cord there. It is quite long, but that's good. So first thing I actually do is I take 2 of the pieces and I will actually feed them through here, just straight off the bat, feed them straight through. Just like that, pull it so that they're the same length. Out either side, so I just do that, pull them so they're the same length, just like that. So what I do now is I actually I hold it, so I'm pushing onto the bottom of it so these don't pull through, and I'll actually take the 2 and lie them over that way. I don't know of a lot of people that actually do this. I just find it creates quite a good bond. Stops anything from slipping or anything like that. Cool. So now I've got that there. So this is just the other piece that's left over. Because I did 3 pieces at the start. This is the other piece. So I'll usually create a bit of a loop at the front there and just pinch there so I know where to stop. So I'll feed this through, just like this, and feed it through from the back. This is a little bit fiddly. just like that. Now I've got to remember to keep it separate from the other ones, because otherwise it just gets confusing. I do that, and then I'll take these two pieces here, which are the other two pieces. So this piece here is the loop, that's the loop, and I'll run these two, so the other two pieces, through that loop. Zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. Through this loop, like so. So that I've got something like that. So this loop is now over top of this. Now you don't have to do this, obviously, I just prefer to do it. So that's the loop, and then what I do is I come, so this one's going either side, outside. One piece is going on this side, one piece is going on this side. So I'll do the same thing, but opposite with the ends of it. Of the other end, like that. And then I just bring these through that loop. Now I know it's probably a bit hard for you guys to see and understand what I'm doing here, but when I've got it all a little bit tighter, I'll show you guys what I'm doing. So it's probably a bit hard for you guys to see that. So what I've got is pretty much a piece here that's attached like that. So it's pretty much just a loop that's gone through, and then these have been pulled through the loop, and that's tight. And then I've got the other two pieces here, and then these two pieces here. And it just sits like that. So now that's tight. Now obviously these other two pieces, they are a little bit secure because they've been run over top. They're only a little bit, see, I can still pull them through if I really want to. But these are pretty secure now. So I've got all these sorted out. So what I'll do is I'll take either side there. This is the loop pieces, so I'll pull those to the side. And these are the other two pieces. And that's that. Now you don't have to do that. Obviously you can just pull three straight through, the three cords, get them the same length. But like I said, it's just what I prefer to do. You don't have to do it. So now comes the fun parts. These are the parts that can sometimes take a bit of time to get your head around. I've been doing them for quite a while now. But usually what I'll do is I'll get a piece that's about 300 centimeters long, or around about 12 inches. I'll just cut that. It's just there, and then I'll get another piece that's about 200 long. Now this is a pull-through cord. This piece here that I'm going to be cutting, the 200mm piece, just a pull-through cord. So this piece here, I'll actually use to pull a cord through. So I'll just make a little loop like that. Now I'll zoom in a bit so you guys can see what's going on. This video is probably going to be a lot of zooming back and forward, so it's a bit easier for you guys to see. I don't know how easy it is going to be for you guys to see, obviously, because it is quite a fiddly thing to do. But we'll see how we go with it anyway. So first thing I do is I take this piece here, lie it straight on top, and have it extending back probably around about 50mm or so, 60mm, enough so that you know that you're able to grab it and pull it. Then I come back over itself, so I go like that, bring it back over, and then that is what I'm going to be using to wind. Now the piece that you're winding, whatever you're winding with, you can do it the other way if you want to. It might be a bit easier for me to do it that way to show you guys. But whichever end that you're going to be winding, you want this poking out the opposite end. So wherever you're starting your wind and working your way up, you want this pointing at the other end. So I'll do it the opposite way here. If I lie that on there, just like that, because like I said, this is the pull through, so this is going to pull the last of the knot through. and make you able to tighten it all. So we just do that there. Take this. So this is that piece that I just did a loop in, a little bit longer at one end. So we'll just lie that on there. The longer end is the end that we're going to be wrapping. So we bring it back, so now we've got two loops here. Two loops here. One loop is the pull through, and the other one is actually the start of our knot. So now all we do, see I'm pinching it like that, bring it around, over, and just start wrapping it around. Now what you want to do, you want to make sure that as you're doing it, you're not twisting these around at the same time, like that, because it's going to make it very hard for you to end up pulling it tight. So all you want to do is tighten, just like that. So if you guys can see that, I've just done one loop around. So this here is the little loop for the start of the knot, and then we've got this going around, and we'll just go around a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I'll usually do about 8. So the reason I did this piece here is because now when I pull this loop, so this is the loop that isn't the pull through cord, this one here. The reason I did that loop is because when I pull this back through, like this here is going to allow me something to hold on to, and it's also going to clear a little bit of room for this cable to be able to be pulled back through. So I want to take this cable here, poke it through there. I usually fold it over a little bit. It's a lot easier with wax cord because it does want to hold its shape to an extent. I'll fold it and pinch it so it sits like that. Then what I can do is I can grab this longer cord, give it a little tighten. You'll see that start to tighten up. Just like that. Don't pull it too tight though, because we want to be able to slide this up and down. And then I grab the pull through cords and pull that wire through just like that. It's going to pull it all the way through, and there we go. There's our knot. Now this knot's loose so that we're able to slide it right up. It's probably this one is actually probably a little bit too loose, so I'll just give it a little tighten and then just roll it between your fingers. That just allows it all to settle a bit tighter. Give it another little pull, roll it, a little pull, roll it, and each time I'm rolling it I'm seeing if it's going to slide. So see, that will slide, but it's not going anywhere. Slides through, but it doesn't want to go anywhere else. So that's tight enough. You pretty much just want it tight enough so that you're able to slide it, and when you let go of it you know it's not going to go anywhere else. So see that's that there. So remember we started with the first loop that came up and down. So it came up and down, and then we wrapped around it, and then we pulled that loop, the long piece, back out. That just means that we end up with this. Just gives it a bit more room. The rolling is really good because what you're actually doing when you're rolling it is you're squeezing these pieces of it a bit tighter. What will end up happening if you don't roll it and tighten it is you'll pull these tight and each end will tighten but the middle won't, and then over time it'll end up loosening up these knots. So you definitely want to roll it a little bit. So I'm not actually twisting it around the string. See, the string's actually twisting with it. I'm just rolling it. So now what we do, easy enough, we push that all the way up till it's tight, like that. And grab these two and pull them. Just work away at it, get them up there nice and tight. That's that. Yeah, see, I can't pull that down now, it's too tight. Now we just need to cut these. I actually find it a lot easier to cut these things, not with these, but with actually a pair of nail clippers. It tends to get in there quite easily, but I'm not allowed to use the nail clippers at the moment. The boss has said I'm not allowed to use them, so I'm going to be using these. I mean, it still does exactly the same job. Just the nail clippers, I've noticed, tend to get in there a lot nicer. So it might pay for you guys to even just, if you're going to be doing these every so often, just buy a pair of cheap nail clippers and just have them just for that. Alrighty, there we are. Now I've got that strung. So that's not going to go anywhere. That's stuck there pretty tight. All I've done here is I've separated 3 and 3. And I try to keep them as close as I can to either side. Because you don't want to have like one that's over here on this side, because you end up with weird twists in here and it just looks a little bit funny. So just try to separate the 3 that are on this side and the 3 that are on that side. Cool, so now comes the fun part, plaiting. Now obviously if you guys aren't plaiting this, I'm going to plait it, but I'm going to speed it up for you guys so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. But it's just a 3 plait, just an over-under plait. But if you guys don't want to do this, you can obviously just skip forward to the next part. But I do find that this makes it a lot stronger. You can obviously plait it. I've actually plaited quite a few with the 3mm cordage, not the 1mm cordage. It is quite bulky, but it does actually look quite nice as well. The 3 plait's got in the way too that it takes it from being just a round cord, it actually flattens it out a little bit. So it sits a bit nicer on the neck. So yeah, I'll get into plaiting these, and yeah, so all I'll do is I'll plait down these, usually further than I'll need to. I'll get pretty close to the end. I mean, I'd rather plait too much than not enough. But I do use these. If ever I need to stop or anything like that, I've just got these little clamps here. You can get cheaper ones than these. I just grabbed these from the shop, just one of the like $2 shop type shops. Just grabbed these here. I've got 4 of them, but I only use 2 of them for this. But these are really good. As I start plaiting, if I need to stop for anything, I can just grab this, pinch it on it, and it holds the plait. Makes life a little bit easier. So yeah, I'll get into plaiting this and I'll bring you guys back once I've done this first one. Cool, that's one down. That only took me around about 10 minutes or so. Doesn't take too long. Now I just realised while I was doing that there's probably some of you guys that don't actually know how to do a 3 plait. So I'll show you guys how to do it. They're really easy. They're one of the easiest things to do when it comes to like cordage and stuff like that. You literally, I'll show you here, just taking your cord, so the one that's on the outside goes to the middle. This is the already plaited one, by the way, so we'll get that out of the way. So your cordage that's on the outside goes into the middle of the other 2, and then this one on the other side goes into the middle. This one goes into the middle. This one goes into the middle, and you just keep doing that, outside to the middle, and then just swap sides each time. You get to a point that it just becomes easy. It's a bit of a, you get into a bit of a rhythm of it. You can just go like this. Pretty easy to do. Over, outside, middle, outside, middle, outside, middle, outside, middle. Now with these, because the cord's quite long, don't do it too much without dragging your fingers through the cable, through the cordage, because you end up with these if you don't. Just bunches. So you just every so often you want to just get your fingers through all the cables and just pull your hand through. There's nothing more annoying then getting to, say, halfway through or so. There's nothing more annoying than getting like halfway through it and you go to run your fingers through and you get a knot at the end. There's nothing more annoying than that. I find that my right hand is usually fine with doing this. My left hand, however, I end up getting a bit sore in here, and that's just usually because I'm holding like this. This hand I'm not. I think it's just because I'm right-handed. I tend to squeeze a lot more with my left hand than my right hand. But that's what those little clamps are for, because I can literally do that. Stop here, keep it on my finger, get the clamp, slide it underneath, run it along, pinch it, and there. Give my hand a bit of a rest. So I'm not going to film all this. There's no point in me filming at all. You guys are just seeing me do that. Obviously in a time lapse, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just over in, over in, over in the whole way through. And then I'll bring you guys back when I've got both of them all done up. Alrighty. There we go. Now we've got the two pieces coming off. How do we connect them together? There's multiple different ways that you can do it, obviously. I mean, I've done quite a few different ones. I mean, here's just a little piece of wood, and on the other end is a loop. A piece of wood goes through the loop, makes it tight. My personal favourite though is I will actually do 2 knots and make them slip. Actually, here's a piece, one of the 3mm cordage. Well, actually this one might be 2mm cordage that I plaited. Yeah, that looks quite nice too. Comes out quite nice. Just like that. But this is my go-to. Probably looks a little bit confusing, but these are slip. They slip along, so you can actually adjust. So most people will put it to there, put it over their head, and then they'll just pull these tight. Makes it smaller. So I'll show you guys how I do that. It's relatively easy to do. It's literally just one end loops around this one, and then I do that knot again, and then the same on the other one. Yeah. So I'll show you how to do that on this one. Usually what I'll actually do, makes it a bit easier on myself, is I'll actually do a loop on this one first, and then I'll thread the other one through it. Now what I'll do here, just to tie it off, is I get this piece into my mouth and then just tie a basic knot. Like that. So now that isn't going to unravel. So I'll do the same again on the other one. There's nothing more annoying than spending all that time plaiting these and then they unravel on you, so I always do this. There's the second one, ready to roll. So we've got both of these plaited up. So now all I do now is grab one of them, doesn't matter which side, either or, and I'll squeeze a little bit and I'll run my finger down it. That keeps the plait straight. And then I know that that's the top of the plait, so I'll just fold that over like that. And that way I know that that needs to meet up to that. Just squeeze it. I always give it a little squeeze. It's because it's wax string, it will actually hold that. Which makes life a lot easier. You can obviously do it with a different cord, doesn't have to be wax. The reason I like the wax is it tends to last a bit longer and it holds a bit tighter as well. So we've got that there. Now it's just a matter of doing the same thing. I'm just going to reuse this pull cord that I did before. Reuse this one. Just get another piece, about 300mm. I do 300mm, you don't have to do that long, but I do, it just gives me a bit more to hold on to, really, when I'm doing it. Cool. So because this one here, I'm not fighting with the fact that there is this piece here stopping me, I probably won't end up doing a full loop. So for this one here, I'll do that. Just the pull cord. There's the loop in our plait. Just go like that. So we've got that there. So this here is the pull cord. This is our plaited cord that we've got the loop in. This here is attached to this, so it just loops underneath my thumb there. So I'll take the longer piece and just start wrapping it around. Now again, just make sure that you're not twisting these around as you're wrapping it, because it will make it very hard later on. The thing with doing this kind of stuff is you can fix things pretty easily. You just got to undo it. I mean, but nobody wants to redo things I've already done. So just wrap around a few times. Usually I'll go from like 6 to 10 usually. You can count if you want to. I don't, because this cord's so thin. I usually do count if I use the thicker cord. Mainly because if I don't count, because it's quite a bit thicker, you can actually see the difference in how long each one is. With this one it's a bit hard to tell. So there, got the wrap. Now this is the little loop that was from this one, so I'll just pull that tight a little bit. Not super tight, just enough so that it's there. And then I'll grab the two pieces that I need, these two here for the pull cord. Pull that through. Now you can pull it through slow, I prefer to pull it through fast. I just pulled the first one through slow to show you guys. You pull it through fast, it's a lot better. And just find it. Those tend to confuse me every so often. They're just the dangly pieces from the plaited part. And there. Just pull that tight a little bit, pull that tight. Sorry guys, you couldn't see. Pull that tight a little bit. So I just did the same there as what I've done here. Just with the little loop. So what I'll do, I won't worry about any of that now, I'll leave all that the same. I'll grab this again and I'll pull along so that I can see where the top of the plait is. It goes up like that. So now I'll do the same thing for this one. Find where the top of the plait is. I do this because if you end up with too many little twists and stuff in your cord, it won't quite sit right. So now I know that that's the top and I know that that's the top. So I'll just feed this through here. Usually fun with those pieces. Feed that through there, like that, trying to make sure that I keep the top of the plait facing up. I just don't want any twists in it really. So we've got that there. Now I'll take my knot and I'll slide it up to the loop, if it will want to. Oh, egg, I'm holding on to this. There we go. So we got that tight on there. Now that's not super tight, but it's definitely holding. So again, roll, pull, roll, pull. Give it a roll, give it a pull, give it a roll, give it a final pull. There we go. So now we can cut this off. We can cut this piece off. And we can cut this pull piece off that we were using for our knot. There we go. So that's the first one done. So as you can see, that's around there. This is this side. So it slides through. But because of the way that these are made, when you get this one over here, it's not going to want to slide easy. It only want to slide easy as soon as you tilt that up like that, see? But if it's tight, it won't want to slide. See, it doesn't even want to slide that way. But as soon as that tilts up, like that, it slides quite easily. I do like doing this way. It is a lot better. Just means people, if they want to, it's easier to take off than trying to find out how to feed this piece here through the loop behind your head. Can be a bit of a pain in the bum. So now what we need to do, need to wrap that around there. Give us a bit more working area so you guys can see a bit better. So I slide this all the way down till it's at a point where I slide it all the way down so it's at a point like that. So that is fully extended, this one. Now I know if I fold this one over, that's where I want that one. But I don't want it like that. I want to pull this off like that. There we go. And I want to take this one and loop it back over itself. Like this. So that is where my next knot's going to be, right here. So it'll be like that. So because of this one being like that, I tend to slide this one as down as far as I can. Just gives me a bit more working area. And yeah, get to that. Pull out another piece, about 300 long. Cut that off. Get the pull through cord. Now, when I did that original one, I didn't have it attached to anything. I didn't actually need to do a pull through cord. I can show you that with another carving at some point, but I find the pull through cord's really good. It makes life a lot easier. So I'll just do that. That like that. Lay it over top of this. Get the pull through cord. So remember, the pull through cord, whichever end you're wrapping, you want your pull through cord loop at the other end. So where you finish. So put that like that. Now it's probably a bit hard for you guys to see what I'm doing here. I will look at doing another video on this at some point that uses a different coloured cord. I'll actually make a specific video that shows you guys how it's all working and stuff. But hopefully some of you guys will be able to get a general idea of how I do it here. So just wrapping over. See, these are starting to twist around. I don't want that. I want them to stay at the side like that. Just wrap it around. You want to do it tight, but you don't want to do it excessively tight, because if you do it too tight, you're not going to have enough to be able to pull that through. It's going to be too tight for you to be able to pull it through. So you don't have to do it super tight, because we do roll it at the end. Like that. Bring it through the loop for the pull cord. Just like so. Hold it all. So this loop here, remember? So we want to pull that just to get rid of that loop. So hold it all tight, grab the pull cord. It's a bit easy at this point to determine what's what, because you've got these two cords coming out here, but these are obviously the plait. So you know that these two are your pull cord. Pull that through. Just like that. Pull that tight. And there we have it. So grab these two again like we did before, pull it a little bit tight, roll it. You don't want to pull it really tight, you just want to pull it enough so that you have a little bit of tension in it, because you still want to be able to slide it up to this cord. Pull it tight, roll it. These are my favourite knots. If anybody in the knows, any of you guys know what this knot's called, can you leave it down in the comments? I have no idea what this knot's called. I just really figured it out for myself. Pull it tight. Cool, that's enough. Now we want to slide it up. So grab both. Don't just grab one, because if you just grab, like say this one, when you pull that, it's only going to pull that cord through. We know that that loop there is where we want it, so I'm going to grab both. Slide it up. Like so. Put that on there. Now we can pull these tight. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much it. Just got to trim these off. The thing I mainly like about these knots is you don't have little pieces dangling out the end, which is really annoying. So just snip that off there. Snip this one off. Make sure you snip the right one. I have done that before. I was half asleep and I actually ended up cutting this piece. And then snip this one off here. And there we go. This carving is done. So see, those don't want to pull, but as soon as I put a bit of pressure on them to straighten them out like that, they slide really easily, just like that. It's the same kind of thing as what you have on, like, I don't know if any of you guys go camping or anything like that, but it's the same kind of thing that you have on the guide wires that you have from your posts. So pulls through easy if it's straight, doesn't want to if it's not straight. So if you bend that and bend that, easy. Not easy. So yeah. Let's have a look at it all finished up. One thing, definitely look at making one of these, or even getting a just like a little clamp for your bench. I actually have one over here that I'll show you guys. Just a little vise like that, just to hold the piece while you're doing it. It makes life so much easier not having to worry about holding onto it. So yeah, I like this because I can move it anywhere I want. I can do my bone carving, stringing at the dining table, anything like that, and actually still hang out with the family. So that's it. Now if you guys want to see me string other things, like say this one here, did a bit of a pattern at the top with the cord. If you want to see me do anything like that, just let me know, because I'll do more carvings obviously, and I'll let you guys see the different types of carvings that I string. This one here is pretty much as basic as you can get. The cord just goes straight through, just tied 2 little knots. Just stops it from slipping around. Just a through hole. There's so many different ways to do it. This one here's just got a basic loop over. I actually did that because of the point. So this one here's just got a loop. Just here. So I just put the loop through and threaded it over itself. Now, I don't usually do that, but I just did it for this one here because of that point. I think it looks quite cool having that point at the top. And yeah, this is just a basic one here as well. It's just another loop just through a ring. I do like these knots. A lot of the time now I will do these, if I do these loops like this, I will actually do the knot at the top. If you didn't notice, the first part of this stringing, when I got the cable, the wire, cordage, sorry, and I put those 2 pieces through. The second piece, third piece that I put through, I actually did that to it. So I had it go like that. And that just made the other ones hold. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's any more that you guys want to see, obviously leave a like. I'll know that you guys are enjoying this kind of stuff. If you get a chance, subscribe, share the video if you want. If there's anybody that you know of that would like to see this kind of thing, wants to know how to do this kind of thing at all. This isn't really a how-to, this is a how I do. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of a how-to, I suppose. If you guys want any more, just, yeah, leave a like, subscribe, and cool. Have a good one. Ka kite.